Inside Out is an animated film from Pixar that premiered in 2015, but to this day it continues to be the subject of a number of theories about its story, like the one that says that the protagonist has appeared in other Pixar films, or that she is adopted. But what I think it's really important in this film are not these theories, but the story that Pixar tried to tell us underneath it. What appears to be a simple children's movie that shows the life of its protagonist Riley can actually be one of the most complex and profound films created by the studio, tackling neuroscience and psychology in a subtle way. Today, we are going to take a closer look at this film and analyze several of its theories. Although we had seen films with a similar style to Inside Out, this film focuses more on the emotions of the protagonist, emotions such as joy, anger, fear and sadness. At the beginning, we can see that the emotion of joy is dominant in the life of the protagonist, but everything began to change in the life of Riley after she moves to San Francisco. At that moment, the emotion of sadness began to take control over her life, but was continuously stopped by joy, creating a conflict between both of them that affected the life of Riley in a negative way. Although this conflict is really an allegory, what we can observe in Riley is a grieving process that leads to a state of depression, a very complex issue for a children's film. As explained by the Book of Mourning and Melancholy published by the psychologist Freud, the loss of something in an individual causes an internal process of mourning, in which a person is led to a state of melancholy and depression. Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross described the stages of mourning in 5 phases: denial, anger, negotiation, emotional pain, and acceptance. We can see these 5 phases of mourning being manifested in the film and something that is more complex: childhood depression. In the film, we could observe the rise of the existence of memories so vital to a person that they shape their personality, but also how these memories can be affected by emotions, turning memories of happiness into memories of sadness, something that can be observed in people with depression. Thanks to neuroscience, we know that the chemistry in our brain changes during depression, affecting the communication between the main neurotransmitters, such as norepinephrine and serotonin. Antidepressant medications seek to correct this chemical imbalance in the brain of the depressed person to relieve the symptoms. So we could say that the film intensely showed us in an allegorical way what really happens in the brain of a person with depression. Depression is a disease that can affect a person's life, completely changing that person's behavior. From the perspective of Riley, we could see how she was submerging herself in an absolute depression, where her memories of happiness were manifested with sadness. And the most important thing of the film, at the moment in which joy and sadness left their post, Riley falls into a state of loss of emotional expression, one of the most common states in depression. Many people have theorized that in reality, joy is the villain of the film. This could be explained by the words of the psychoanalyst Melanie Klein. She proposed that depression develops due to the inability of a person to release the feeling of the initial loss. At the moment that the person cannot resolve a feeling of loss, other defense systems are activated, resulting in depression, just as we saw in the movie. Joy wanted to maintain control constantly and didn't allow Riley to express feelings of sadness, leading to a state of depression and emotional loss. It wasn't until she allowed sadness to take control that Riley could express herself and continue. We can also find other allegories in the movie, such as the character being Bong, which represented the imagination of a young person that is lost over time. We could also observe that the clothes of this character carried the distinctive colors of each emotion, but also carried an additional color, orange. Many people say that it is an emotion that the protagonist has not yet discovered, perhaps love. The film leaves us with several questions, like why the emotions of her parents were represented in their respective sexes, but the emotions of Riley were of mixed sexes. Some people point out that this may mean that Riley has not yet developed and that she is being influenced by her parents' emotions. Without a doubt, it is one of the films with one of the deepest stories created by Pixar. Tell me, what do you think about Inside Out? Do you think that everything that happens is a metaphor for depression? Or do you think it's just another children's movie? Also, leave me your opinion of what could be the sixth emotion. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already for more interesting videos like this.